What's going on, kings and queens? It's your boy Byron, CEO of Self-Rise Enterprise, and today we are back with another video. So today we are going to be going over the life of Whitney Houston, and we're going to break down the life of a queen. You know what I'm saying? We're going to put some respect on her name today, man. We're going to get rid of all those rumors and lies and everything that the media has portrayed about her life over the years, and we're going to break down the human behind the fame, not the singer, not the the drug user. We're gonna break down the soul. We're gonna see who we're talking about when it comes to Whitney Houston, and we're just gonna put some respect on her name, and we're gonna keep her legacy going, man. So if you like this video, man, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and let's get right into it. 1961. Whitney Elizabeth Houston was born the daughter of a gospel singer, Sissy Houston, John Houston, right? Basically, her mom was already a backup singer back in the days for a lot of big names, right? Sissy Houston was the mentor of the queen, you know what I'm saying? So she was the queen of a queen, right? And she was a gospel singer that mentored her daughter throughout her life when it came to singing and just honing the craft, and eventually becoming, being who she was, being one of the top singers in the world. It all started at the church. It all started with gospel singing on Sundays.
She always said that if you sing from your heart and if you let people know that you care about what you're doing, they are bound to give you 100%. They'll give it back to you in some way or another.
By her mom, Sissy Houston, being able to participate and just have a talent to deal with likes of Dionne Warwick and Aretha Franklin, Elvis Presley, Sam Cooke, Ray Hamilton. By her being in the presence of these great singers and being the backup singer on some albums and some tours, and she was able to be exposed. The music for her was on another level. She was born into music royalty. We can say that she was born into music royalty, and that things were always sweet. What do I mean by things were always sweet? Well, by Sissy Houston having the money to, leave the projects and leave the hood, that's exactly what they did. They placed their kids in a better neighborhood, in a better environment. That way, they're not really dealing with the chaoses of the projects and the ghetto. And that's what any great parent to do, is to get their children, move them to suburbs, move them to a location where there's less violence, and they're less than prone to be influenced. But little did she know that later on in life, all her kids would go the opposite way of what she wanted for her kids. And let's talk about that. What do I mean by that? All right, so she's a backup singer for her mom. She earns above average income, which allows them to live outside the projects and live in the suburbs. She commits to being a singer at age 12, and she doesn't look back.
How much did you learn from your mother and your cousin, and how much of it is just intuitive, innate, genetic, maybe?
I think it's there already. I think it was kind of passed on to me. It's like in my blood. the learning and the growing and the things that you should know about the business comes from my mother and teaching me and telling me these things. When I decided to become an entertainer, she said, oh, you want to be a singer, huh? Mm-hmm. And she said, well, do you want to be in show business? I said, well, isn't that the same thing? I mean, I want to sing, so that's what I want to do. She said, no. It's a whole different world. But my mom she's taught me everything that I know.
So by age 12, she was modeling / she was backup singing for her mom at bars and venues in New York City back in the days, late 70s, mid 70s, when she was coming up. And this is where she was able to hone her craft. This is where she was able to, get in front of the crowd. This is where opportunity meets preparation. If you're good at something and you keep working at it, eventually it'll pay off. Eventually you'll have dividends based off the skill set that you acquired or inquired on a few years ago, or if you're currently focusing on getting something now. You just have to stay consistent, stay persistent, and stay positive. And no matter what you do, you'll get past it if you push through. So this is called Training the Voice. And the reason I call this section Training the Voice is because before she's able to sell millions of albums, before she's able to become one of the most beautiful black women to ever be seen on a magazine, before she's able to really make a stance and a real significance difference in the world, she goes through a regular life, early 80s. But things change very fast, right? And let's talk about that. So while training the voice, right, she's still going to venues, she's still going to bars, she's still going to different things with her mom, right? But then she graduates from high school just a year later in 1981, right? So then she moves with her best friend. Rodney is someone who her mother disapproved of. Rodney was just that person that just didn't care. There's always people that just don't have feeling for what other people got to say or what they think about them. And I'm one of them people, man. I don't really care what you think about me. You know what I'm saying? As long as you're not disrespectful, as long as you're not, I'm trying to cause any harm. You know what I'm saying? Think what you think, but I'm gonna continue to do me. And that's kind of what Robbins was, and that gave Whitney Houston that extra confidence to be who she was, because according to her mother, Whitney did not like confrontation. She did not like arguing. She did not like disagreements. So anybody that would disagree with her or anybody that would just go against her, she avoided it, man. She didn't really have a backbone until later on in life, where she had to get one through the fame, and you know what I'm saying, she had to get a little aggressive with how she was dealing with people because she could never be herself. And what do I mean by that?
Shall we talk about you? Well, you tell us whatever it is you want us to know.
Well, let's put it like this. We're here to talk about Exhale. My life is none of your business.
So she continues modeling while living with Robin Givens, right? She's working, she's still going to the club, she's still singing at night, and she's still modeling, right? She got money. She not much, but she got enough to get through her life, and more than the average Joe. They're not hurting at all, right? So then one night, Clive Davis signs Whitney Houston on the spot, right? Because I believe Clive Davis was invited to a club or a bar or something with a friend, and this is why I say opportunity meets preparation. Whitney Houston showed up that night, sang, and was signed right on the spot, right? So when she got signed to Clive Davidson, it took 2 years for her hit album to be released, Whitney Houston, right? When it was released, it sold 12 million. It just kept selling. 84, 85, just kept selling. You know what I'm saying? And it sold 12 million. That's crazy.
Be a cliche, but you feel that tingle up and down your spine, and you just know that you're in the presence of somebody special, and
that's what I felt the other night when you took me to see Whitney Houston.
I did take you to see Whitney Houston, and I don't do that very often.
You have signed her to Arista.
That's correct.
You'll probably start off with an album.
That's correct.
She is gorgeous. She is how old? 19?
This girl is 19 years old, yeah. And rarely do you find, you wonder There was Lena Horne. There's Dionne Warwick, who's certainly currently very.
She
very
is Dionne
vital.
Warwick's cousin, isn't she?
By coincidence, I've never even talked to Dionne about this. I mean that sincerely. She is Dionne's first cousin.
Right.
And but if the mantle will ever pass, even though Lena's as great as ever and Dionne is as great as ever, but if the mantle is to pass to somebody who's 19, who's elegant, who's sensuous, who's innocent, who's got an incredible range of talent, but guts and soul at the same time, it will be Whitney Houston, in my opinion.
She also happens to be a model.
Yes, she is. She's a beautiful girl, and her poise doesn't hurt. But it's her natural charm. I mean, you either got it or you don't have it. She's got it.
She got it.
Relentless tours nonstop with family, but eventually becomes too much. And this is what I talk about, the rise and the fall.
My mother said I couldn't sign a contract unless I graduated high school. I was singing and working on the weekends and modeling and stuff like that, but I couldn't do a full-time thing until I graduated high school. And then after that, I probably missed like young womanhood, like, you know, when women are out like at 21, 22, 23, 24, and out partying and having a good time and meeting guys, stuff like that, I was on the road working.
Just too much for a young 20-year-old girl, fresh out of school, fresh out of, you know, she went from modeling to, you know, just being in the recording studio, doing her little gigs at night. Now she's a full-time artist, and she's always on tour relentlessly, and she's with her brothers. Now, this is where the story comes, and they say that one of her brothers started to, you know, indulge in different drugs, you know, and the drugs of choice was, you know, marijuana and cocaine, right? So marijuana is not really that big of a deal, you know what I'm saying? But the cocaine was looked at very normal back in the 80s. There was nothing wrong with doing cocaine. Everyone did cocaine, and no one knew the future cons to what they were growing and what they were reaping within themselves with this drug.
So was the first time she tried freebasing cocaine or cocaine, crack, whatever, are you the one who introduced you to her?
I think probably the first time she ever did it was probably, you know, but you gotta understand, at the time, the 80s, it was acceptable. In the entertainment industry, it was just like available, and it wasn't like a bad word like it is now. You know what I'm saying? We didn't know.
I want to break down what that did for Whitney Houston, just on the personal side, just on the famous side, just on, you know, she was really never able to be her. She was never able to be herself. She was always caught up with pleasing the public. She was always pleasing the public from a young age. Even as a model, she was, you know, working as a young girl. From, you know, I get out of school, I go straight to modeling class. When I leave modeling class, I go home. You know, wake up, let me go to school, let me do it again. You know, so she was working since age 12. You know, and if she's not modeling, she's at the bar singing. She's never had a chance to fully be a kid. And if she did have a chance to be a kid, you know, the 80s and back were the closest thing to her having that experience and that, you know, that life of just no worries. And so, you know, if you're going through things in life and it's just too overwhelming and you never really dealt with pain, things are going to be hard to cope with. And when things become hard to cope with, people find alternatives and other means to, you know, depend on, you know, this mechanism to change, or depend on this darkness to move over you. And eventually it never left Whitney. And this is what we're going to talk about in the next episode, man. I appreciate y'all watching this. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. One love.